Ever get that icy pit in your stomach the moment you hear the word reserve and know it's not just a bruise or a bump, but a season-shattering blow nobody wanted to face? Detroit, we're right at that edge. That moment where hope and heartbreak are staring each other down, breathing heavy, waiting to see who blinks first. You can almost hear the grinding gears of the Motor City slow, even if just for a breath, as insiders whisper behind the scenes and executives hold their breath. Like this is a hostage situation where the hostage is our entire defensive identity. Now, brace yourselves, because the name ripping through the rumor mill like a cold wind off the river is one that stops you dead in your tracks. Levi Zurich. Yes, the steel-hearted defensive tackle, the cornerstone of a defensive line many dared dream could finally hold the line and pressure opposing quarterbacks with ruthless precision, has been slapped on the reserve pup list. That means at least the first 4 games vanish in a blur of physical therapy and practice field silence. This isn't just a hiccup. It's a seismic tremor striking at the very heart of our defensive blueprint. The Lions, after all, have been building around him, not just in theory, but in every plan, every snap of practice, every film session. Levi was supposed to be the anchor in the storm, the force pushing through gaps, collapsing pockets, the Poitras guy who turned pressure into sacks, chaos into turnovers. Without him early on, the trenches suddenly look exposed, vulnerable, and if there's one thing we know about Detroit football, it's that holes this big don't stay unnoticed. They get exploited, and fast. Remember the pain since '91? The endless cycle of rebuilding and renewal born from heartbreak, the shaking off of years marked by dreams deferred and playoff heartbreak? From the windswept remnants of the Caldwell era to now, this city knows exactly what it means to face adversity and muscle through it with grit you can't buy. But what if this is more than just another bump on the road? What if Zurich's absence forces a reckoning far deeper than we imagine? A test that pushes Brad Holmes and this young roster into uncharted territory where quick moves and gutsy decisions become the difference between a midseason collapse and a roaring comeback. Because the urgency isn't just about filling a roster spot anymore, it's about preserving an entire season's worth of defensive identity. With a laundry list of defensive linemen limping into camp or sidelined already, the pressure mounts on Holmes' shoulders like never before. And lurking in that shadow is a name that could flip the script: Demarcus Walker. A familiar warrior, a veteran fighter who carved his legacy tearing through the NFC North when he donned the Bears uniform. Those 77 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 7 sacks. Those aren't just stats. They're a promise of impact. Walker is that rare hybrid, a monster of versatility who can storm the edges or jack inside on third downs to disrupt the quarterback's rhythm when it matters most. Imagine Walker stepping onto the field at Ford Field, a Lion again, but this time a lifeline thrown into a fray complicated by injury and uncertainty. His presence will provide Aaron Glenn the chess pieces he needs to flex and adapt on the fly, slotting and shifting players to chase quarterbacks, crush runs, and ignite this defense that has dreamt so long of dominance in this division. Lions fans, I'm telling you, this isn't just another signing to fill a spot on the depth chart. This is the move that whispers hope amid chaos, a lifeline threading through the storm. But the question hanging heavy in the air, with Detroit's soul on the line, is can Holmes pull the trigger fast enough? Can the front office rally from this gut punch and push this team forward before the brutal reality of early season injuries decimates the defensive line's foundation? Or will we be forced once again to bear the weight of slow, agonizing recovery and watching gains slip through our fingers like sand? If this gamble pays off, if Demarcus Walker joins the Lions and the pieces click, what happens next? Can this defense become that unbreakable wall, the bulwark that forces the league's best offenses to retreat, scrambling just to stay in games? Could this be the spark that ignites a run, deeper and fiercer than any of us dared whisper last winter? But beware, because if this domino falls, if this plan unravels, The ripple effects will reach farther than anyone expected. The next wave of injury or misstep could come crashing down. And then, Detroit, you won't believe who's next to fall. So, let me hear you. If your blood boils for this city, if your heart pounds for this team to rise from the ashes once more, make some noise in the comments and tell me, is Demarcus Walker the shot in the arm we desperately need, or is there another path, another angle Holmes must take to flip the script? Because one thing's clear, the fuse is lit, and no matter what comes next, the Detroit Lions are ready to fight back, clawing, roaring, not just for survival, but to take what's theirs. Break the chains, Detroit. Ignite the nightmare. And let the world feel our fury. We're staring down the abyss, hands trembling on the wheel. But inside? Inside, there is a fire that refuses to die, because we know what this city and this franchise are made of: grit, resilience, blood that's been spilled through decades of heartbreak and hope. The ghost of Ford Field whispers stories of what was lost. Barry Sanders in his prime, leaving the game rather than be part of another rebuild. Calvin with his gloves down, retirement choking the heart of a team starving for a hero. Dan Orlovsky's safety, a moment that felt like the end of everything, yet somehow became a rallying cry for the underdog. Remember the 0-16 season, when despair was stitched into every knot in our jerseys, when even the steel of Lomas Brown and Barry's wiggle couldn't mask the agony of futility? Fast forward, and here we are again, a team bright with promise, fresh with hope, yet battered with injuries and doubts that threaten to undo it all just as the roller coaster makes its steepest climb. Last season's playoff thrill was a godsend. But this season? It feels like the universe is testing us again. Our defense, once the bedrock of our identity, now looks fragile. The cracks spidering out from Levi on Zurich's reserve placement. A blow that cuts to the core, not just of our roster, but of our very belief. It's a blow that screams of missed opportunities, of red zones that turn cold when pressure fades, of quarterbacks who laugh as gaping holes swallow our hopes. The locker room feels different, too. A tense hum underneath the chatter, veterans exchanging looks that speak louder than words. The front office? They're biting nails over how to patch this line and salvage what's left of the season. We've seen Holmes make bold strokes before, from trading for Barnes to swinging that draft pick into Sullivan, making tough calls and trusting instincts. But this is different. The specter of losing Levi feels like the weight of Detroit's past failures settling on our shoulders once more. And amid that chaos, there's Demarcus Walker, a name that suddenly caught fire, a fighter who's carved his scars across NFC North turf, a master of disruption who could be the key to unlocking an otherwise collapsing defense. Imagine him storming onto Ford Field, the crowd roaring as his reputation for wrecking offenses precedes him, a thunderclap echoing hope into the rafters. His presence might not just be a patch. It could be the jolt we've desperately needed since that December collapse against the Packers. Since Jared Goff rose from the ashes to lead a fight that nearly felt irreversible, but failed by inches. Could Walker's intrusion turn our house around? Or is it too late? A gamble that's dangerous enough to shatter what fragile foundation we're holding on to. The stakes are sky high. Holmes' decision could define not just the immediate future, but cement his legacy as a GM willing to roll the dice for Detroit's future. And what about the next chapter? What if Walker's impact is immediate, transforming that defense into a steel trap that closes before the opposition even breathes? Or what if, amid all this chaos, there's a plan lurking beneath, a dark horse like a trade for a veteran pass rusher, a mid-season jolt that pushes us over the edge? The clock is ticking. Every moment feels like a countdown to either ruin or rekindling that wild, unrelenting lion spirit that refuses to die. And deep in the shadows, in some corner of the NFL universe, rivals are watching, heroes and villains alike, sensing that something's brewing, shadows lengthening over Ford Field, knowing full well that the next move could either write a new chapter of legend or bury us deeper in the archives of missed chances. So I ask you, Lions fans, As the lights burn brighter and hope flickers on the edge of the abyss, is Demarcus Walker our salvation, the hero this city needs, or will another unseen hand reshape our fate before we even get to see the dawn?